When we first arrived in Rome, we were tourists, just like the other 35 million people who come to visit Rome each year. Being on study abroad here in Rome provides us with an interesting hybrid of the tourist experience and the local experience, and we had big dreams of immersing ourselves in Italian culture and language. Before coming to Rome, I was expecting a dreamy Italian summer with studio and classes in between. I was so excited to see some of the most monumental pieces of architecture we have learned about in our classes back home. I knew very little Italian and couldn't wait to learn through new friends and neighbors. 2 months is a long time to live in a new country, and I was hoping I would become somewhat of a local in my own American way.
When I arrived, I knew some of the more famous sites, zero Italian, and was just excited to be pulled along through the various adventures on our itinerary. I left behind anything I felt would make me stick out even more as a tourist and prepared myself to blend into the crowd. I knew I wouldn't become an Italian local in the span of 2 months, but I hoped I wouldn't make too much noise as an American. We've learned that Rome isn't just Rome. Saying you live in Rome is like saying you live in LA or New York. It doesn't mean much unless you specify where. Rome is a ton of different cities all rolled into one, each with their own unique attributes. The heart of Rome, the historic neighborhoods where we are staying, is a hub of international exchanges. Very few actual Italians spend time here, unless really necessary. From the street markets to expensive restaurants serving fettuccine alfredo, to the numerous tchotchke stores that are all exactly the same, the area is catered to tourists and trying to empty their pockets. Coming from people who are technically tourists, it took a minute to learn the ropes. Now, walking around, you can spot these places from miles away.
The real gems of this area aren't the shopping or the restaurants, it's the history and the architecture. Some of the most famous sites are located within walking distance of one another, making this area a dream to wander around. From the Pantheon to the Trevi Fountain and the well-known piazzas, there is something to see around every corner. This is not an area of Rome to take a breath. You might miss something.
When imagining what an Italian summer might be like, one thinks of gelato, coffee, quiet moments in the sun, and lots of good pasta. You might be able to get some of these things in the heart of Rome, but they are way better when you venture out a little. After the first month, we started to feel comfortable here, bold enough to explore the less explored. These perfect moments can almost always be found across the river in Trastevere.
One of my favorite parts of Rome, Trastevere, is beautiful, historical, and quiet. All of the best parts of the heart of the city minus all the tourists. This is where I have gotten the best opportunities to practice my Italian and enjoy places that real locals enjoy. Trastevere became an official part of Rome under Augustus's reign when he divided Rome into 14 regions. Now it is home to quieter streets, lots of history, and the best Italian food. In this area where the tourists don't wander, you can really begin to understand what it might feel like to live there. People know their neighbors, and family-run restaurants serve regular customers every day. Trastevere is surrounded by smaller streets and less busy roads. It tends to be slightly harder to navigate with the small side streets and the dead ends, but where it lacks in planning, it makes up for in beauty. Compared to the center of Rome, Trastevere is so green. There are parks and trees and flowers everywhere you look. It is such a nice break from the fast-paced rush of the historic part of Rome. This is a place to take a breath. The air is fresh.
Now, when talking about the difficulties of tourism in Rome and the frustrations we have faced, it would be remiss to not mention the economy. In 2024, tourism in Rome generated 13.3 billion euros for the city. Rome is the leading city in the country for adding value to the economy. So even though locals may hate the tourists, a lot of their economy depends on them. Not to mention all of the people that are employed by tourism. People like our amazing teacher Luca, who have lived here their whole lives, make their living off of tourism and visitors. Like the documentary we watched on Kivita, this city both benefits and suffers from this phenomenon. In our case, we do what we can to not burden the city so much, speaking Italian when we can, or at least trying, shopping at local stores where we aren't overcharged, and respecting the city and its traditions. After years of studying Latin growing up, and the additional years of studying architecture both in Minnesota and Oregon, I feel so lucky to have been able to come on this trip. Being here in Rome has really pushed me to be curious and learn on the fly, bringing with it so much new information and experiences that I will not soon forget. The 2 months we spent here may not have made me into a true Italian, but I'd like to think that I've gained a deeper connection to the city than the average tourist and provided more to the city than just another face in the crowd.
I have loved my time in Rome here more than anything, and it is something I will remember forever. I have learned so much, not just about the history of the city and architecture, but about myself, forming lasting connections and living in a new culture. Living in Rome for 2 months makes me a sort of local, a short-term local, if you will, and I have loved getting to experience it. I did in fact have my dreamy Italian summer. It just wasn't what I expected, and I wouldn't change a thing.